Welcome to the world united.
Welcome to the world united.
Oh,
Peace.
thank
Namaste.
you.
I was
Thank you.
meditating. I was in the dark.
Are you
Greetings, everyone.
are you from Egypt?
No, I've studied intensely in Egypt.
Acha.
My ancestors are from Egypt, and I've studied. Of the Egyptian order under Tahuti. Studied under Tahuti,
Okay.
who's also known as Melchizedek. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
After the speaker, Yabga Deboka is going to play saxophone. Please stay tuned. We have got a wonderful speaker, NYA GICHAU. May I have an intro, please?
Yeah, we have our speaker, NYA GICHAU. NYA is an award-winning experienced yoga professional, ERYT 500, psychologist, kinesthetic therapist, Reiki and mystical energy healer, published writer, and a pioneer in integrative healing modalities. She blends together these unique skills and learnings from multiple traumatic life experiences to craft one-of-a-kind programs that allow people to heal themselves. Her Yoga Alchemy programs combine yoga, psychotherapy, lifestyle coaching to transform individuals from hurting to healing on multiple holistic levels. The programs are tailored to individual needs and are a blend of traditional yogic practices and philosophies with modern psychology and therapy. We welcome you. Over to you.
Yeah.
Yes, hi everybody. Thank you very much. I hope you can all hear me. Fantastic. So let's begin. Thank you so much for the intro so that everyone knows why I am here and what I am passionate about. I just wanted to shine a light on depression and anxiety, but primarily depression because we don't have an hour to cover both. And just go into what it is and different ways that I have discovered through my own experience and through my training on how to address it. So a lot of people assume that depression is just an extended period of sadness, and that's almost like comparing somebody who has cancer to somebody who has a common cold. It is not the same thing, and it is not on the same level in terms of how it affects the body. So just to give a bit of, just to shed some light, depression is a mood disorder. It is a serious, debilitating illness. It is not a choice. It is not something that's small, something that people can snap out of. What happens when people get depressed, especially if you're diagnosed, is what's happening. There's different things happening on anatomical, physiological level in the body as well as in the mind. These things are such, for example, in the brain, you've got pain receptors. And when one is in depression, especially if they are in a severe or serious depression, what happens is these pain receptors in the brain all light up, and they light up permanently. So you can imagine, you know, if any of you listening in have had an experience where you've broken an arm or a leg or a limb, that only lights up partial pain receptors in the brain, not all of them. Depression lights up everything. Okay, so you can start to understand or empathize with people going through this debilitating mood disorder, how they're physically feeling. Depression shuts down the part in the brain that controls initiative. You know, so even being able to tell yourself that you want to go and seek help, that takes initiative, but that part of the brain is shut down. So this is why it's important as a community to take care of each other. If you've got somebody who is in your family, in your close group of friends, who you can see something's not right, it is your responsibility to start doing research to help them, because they are not in a state physiologically or psychologically to help themselves. Okay, so this is one of the reasons that I'm here. I was diagnosed a couple of years ago. And what happens, with a lot of people whenever they get diagnosed is immediately doctors and psychiatrists and psychologists will tell you to take antidepressants and will prescribe the chemical route. I, having had a past of wanting to go into the root causes of different ailments and different illnesses, I knew that just taking pills will not address the issue, will not get to the root of why I was suffering from that depression, and would not fix it. It would put a Band-Aid over it and it would be a crutch. So I ended up, alongside my therapist, coming up with a program that I used to help counter, or rather complement therapy, that together I realized, I found with the therapy and with this program of different activities, then the depression took a couple of months before it lifted, and I've not had a relapse. So you'll also find, people who take the prescription pill direction, there's a lot of relapses, which means it's not been solved. We haven't gotten to the root of it and it hasn't been healed. So it's important to just understand it for what it is and just see it for the fact that there's no one particular, there's no one root cause. Depression can be caused by a myriad of things. It can be caused by trauma, abuse. It can be caused by inflammatory diet, where your gut bacteria is not healthy. That can actually be a cause of depression. It can be caused by low omega-3 intake, because we're not eating food that has the nutrients that we need, especially if you're eating a lot of processed food. It can be caused by hormonal imbalances. So you find especially pregnant women will be suffering from a lot of postpartum depression because of this. But even non-pregnant women, men and women, we constantly have changing hormones. So if the hormone imbalance is quite large, then you are actually at a risk of becoming depressed. It can be caused by prolonged periods of stress, which then cause adrenal fatigue. So it can be caused by environmental issues. You've lost a loved one, especially during this time with COVID, experience prolonged grief. And it can be caused by, if you've had hard stuff happening in your life and say your support network, people you thought were your friends, disappear, which leads to abandonment and or neglect. So as you can see, there's no one particular cause. It can be caused by any of these things, or it can be caused by a combination of these things. And so because there is no one particular cause, then there is no one particular cure, which is now where my my light bulb moment came when I was pushing myself through it. And I realized it required a holistic viewpoint in addressing it. And this is now where the yoga as well comes in. So we may or may not know this, but emotions are expressed through the body. Okay, think about when you're angry. You're not just calm and placid. When you're angry, what happens is your jaw clenches, right? So there's automatic physiological responses that we are built with in order to express these emotions. And so when we are in a state of depression, this is being expressed in the body and through the body in various ways. And because of the symbiotic relationship between the mind and the body, we then can address the mind through the body. So as a yoga professional, I teach full-time. I teach sometimes up to 6 hours of classes a day. And what I've found is with not just the asana, but a combination of appropriate yoga asana, appropriate yoga nidra techniques or meditation techniques, and appropriate pranayama. I'll be speaking especially about this last bit, the pranayama, even more in depth. When you use appropriate tools within these 3 limbs of yoga, you start to find they start to affect the body, right? Or rather, they start to affect the mind through the body. Okay. And so, for example, when you are holding a particular posture, say you've gone to a yoga class or you're doing your yoga practice at home, when you hold a particular posture, it's not just working on you physically in terms of your muscles and your bones, it's also working internally in your organs, okay? So there's certain postures that help to produce certain hormones. Depression is, when people are diagnosed with depression, they are lacking particular hormones in big amounts. So serotonin being a huge one. So there's particular postures, asanas, that one can use to boost up endorphin production, to boost up serotonin production, to boost up dopamine production. And so it's important to then use these tools that are accessible, that can actually be free, and that can be long-term holistic treatment for this condition. And the same goes for anxiety. It's whatever state one finds themselves in, there's a way that you can navigate yourself energetically through that state using these tools. So what I do is, so I'm a trained psychologist and therapist, as well as an experienced and certified yoga teacher, yoga professional. So what I like to do in my practice is combine these two to create programs to help people going through depression, to help people going through anxiety. And so part of the things that we will be doing in the trainings with people who've been diagnosed and then come to me is to get them, first of all, to just look at their lives holistically, and then to suggest different tools and different practices that they can integrate into their lives. And this is not just for a short term, but it can be used for long term, So tools such as, we find psychotherapy is very important, very integral. And this can be, whether it's talk therapy, cognitive behavioral therapy, interpersonal therapy, or even hypnotherapy, going into the subconscious, neurolinguistic programming. There's different tools. There's also mindfulness practices, which are yogic philosophies and yogic practices that do help. With this. There's things like animal therapy, a simple tool that one can use to immediately affect hormone production in the body. Is if you've got cats or dogs or whatever your pets may be, if you just spend time petting them, playing with them, that immediately gives you a couple of boosts in your dopamine and serotonin production. Meditation has been shown to really impact and help fix rumination and overactivity in the mind. So that also helps produce certain hormones that combat depression. There's light therapy, being outside and in direct sunlight without wearing shades, without wearing any sunglasses, to help your body produce another very important hormone, which is known as vitamin D. Right, so we recommend 20 to 30 minutes outdoor light exposure daily if one can, especially if they're in the latter or more serious stage of depression. So now there's also social support. So it's rebuilding your social network, especially for people who are isolated. With depression, you find a lot of people tend to self-isolate. And so it is important to remove the self from the isolation and connect with a support system. Your support system can be people around you if you have access to a good group of friends or family members. But if you don't have access to that, it can also be simply gathering a team together, your therapist, your yoga teacher, your nutritionist. They're professionals that can be grouped together as your support team. We also advise on nutrition because we tend to find a big correlation between depression and low nutrition. So an anti-inflammatory or a FODMAP diet, you can look that up, is what we recommend as well. Things like taking apple cider vinegar with every meal to boost stomach acidity will stop the production of SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, which then leads to depression. And now lastly, but not least, yoga, the practice of yoga, which goes beyond the asana into the pranayama, the breathing exercises, the meditation, the yoga nidra, all of it. And so I want to, with my remaining few minutes, I want to take you guys through a breathing exercise that I teach in almost every class that I have. And this is for people, and I teach this to everybody, whether or not you're going through depression, it doesn't matter. This will be a breathing technique that helps you manage stress. And so we look at, when we look at the central nervous system in the body, we've got two, think about it like one light switch. So the light switch, so it's either on or off, right? So with the central nervous system, it controls your parasympathetic and your sympathetic nervous response. Sympathetic nervous response is the one that we know very commonly as your fight or flight, flight, freeze, or fawn response. And this is immediately switched on whenever we are threatened, whenever we're in a state of fear. And that response is your body's way of protecting you to get out of harm's way. Now, when we are in a state of depression, that stress response has been switched on and has been switched on for a much longer period of time than it is designed to switch on. And so through our pranayama, our controlled breathing techniques, we can learn to teach the body to switch off the sympathetic nervous system, which automatically switches on your parasympathetic nervous system. So this is now, your parasympathetic nervous system is what now controls your, they call it the rest and digest response to your body. So this is where cellular healing comes from. This is where the body is able to not just relax, but even digest one's food. One needs to be in this in this parasympathetic state of being. We'll find this correlation with people who gain weight and are eating exactly the same thing. It's because they're eating the exact same diet when they are very stressed. They are not breathing right. They are super stressed. And so the food is not getting digested. It is just getting stored as fat. So it is very important to switch on the parasympathetic nervous system for the body to heal itself, for the body to come back into wholeness with the mind as well. So I will take you guys through one of my top go-to breathing exercises. And what we'll do here is simply find a place to sit if you are standing, and just sit with your spine nice and tall. And what you're going to do is just make sure the shoulders are nice and relaxed. And we're going to now start breathing. I will do this breathing exercises on a count. So we're going to inhale for a count of 4. We're going to pause for another count of 4. We're going to exhale for double the length for a count of 8. And then we're going to pause for another count of 4. If you're doing this breathing exercise with me, we'll just do it for 1 minute. If you're doing it with me and you feel that 4-4-8-4 is way too much for your lung capacity, just tone it down and do 3-3-6-3. The number doesn't matter, the ratio is what's important. So the ratio is 1-1-2-1, okay? So let's begin. I want you now to take a deep breath in for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold the breath for 4, 3, 2, 1, and now exhale for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and pause. Hold the breath for 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause for 4, 3, 2, 1, and exhale 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause for 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale again, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause for 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause for 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause for 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause for 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause for 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause for 4, 3, 2, 1. Last breath. Inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause for 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause for 4, 3, 2, 1. Now you can come back to normal breathing, and you'll notice a couple of shifts and things that have changed in the body. You'll notice that you are feeling a little bit calmer. You are feeling a lot more grounded. You might even be feeling a bit like you're in a trance-like state. So this is just my very, very impactful 1-minute demonstration of how the breath affects the body, which then affects the mind state. Okay, so you can now imagine doing this breath for a minimum of 5 minutes, up to 20 minutes. You can imagine how one will feel after the breathing exercise compared to before the breathing exercise. So this is just a nice practical example I like to teach people. You can access this breath work at any time. I like to actually do this breath when I'm in traffic. If I've got a stressful commute happening and there's angry drivers trying to cut me off in traffic, and I find myself getting angry, I immediately start doing this breath, and I find that I'm back in control and calm. So I hope you guys felt the benefits of that breath, and I hope that you adopt it and you take it on as one of your daily tools in life to just bring yourself back into unison with your mind, into unison with your body and with your energy. So that's it. That's my 50 minutes.